Hey, what's up everybody? We got a lot of interest in making infused gummies, so I figured I would show how we do it. We did just post a couple pictures of some non-infused. We were practicing our recipe, we're pretty happy with it and found a little room for improvement, so we're going to take a shot at making our infused ones now. Basically what's going on is I'm using Arizona juice for my juice flavor liquid. That's the bulk of the gummies. Over here we have about a quarter cup of cannabis butter that we made. We infused the butter with homegrown flour. We decarboxylated the flour in the oven and then put it in a slow cooker with some butter. Basically, I'd say about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of flour to about 1 pound of butter. That infused in the slow cooker. We ran that through cheesecloth and extracted all the oil out of it and let it re-solidify. Then we portioned it into portions that we use, generally about a quarter cup. So we got a quarter cup of butter here. We got about I'd say just under 2 cups of water in this one, or juice, sorry, and then just enough to bring the volume up to 2 cups with a little bit of honey. So honey is added for sweetness. I want a total of 2 cups liquid because of the amount of gelatin that I'm going to use. So I have to essentially account for my honey volume. So I went probably 1 3/4 cup liquid and maybe a quarter cup honey roughly. Then we have some gelatin. This is the one that I'm using. Sorry about that loud noise. No flavor, just straight up gelatin, very simple. These are the molds that we're pretty sure we're going to fill. We got some donuts, some hearts, and some diamonds. And then these are our backup ones, some dinosaurs and some bears. We've got our little drippers to take the liquid out of the saucepan and put them into the molds. It makes it a lot easier for yourself. And then the pre-measured gelatin. So basically we're gonna go over to the stove. I've never done this before until the last time, this method, where you bloom the gelatin. So what that means is this is not hot, this is cold. If room temperature, like roughly those temperatures, as an example, I could put my finger in and it's cold. Actually, it's quite cold. This gelatin is going to get put into there very gently, and essentially what we're trying to do in a sense is let the gelatin activate. So it's going to get really thick and gooey, and you'll see in about a minute or two how different it looks. I'm trying to prevent dumping a big huge layer. So we got our 2/3 of gelatin, 2/3 of a cup just went into 2 cups of liquid, and then we have a quarter cup of infused cannabis oil. This is hot, so after this is absorbed in a little bit, I'll turn it on the heat. As it comes to temperature and warms up, then I will dump this in and whisk them together as it comes to a full thicken. Once it's to its full thicken, then we'll take it out of this pot with the little droppers and put it into the gummy molds. Let them cool off just a touch and then put them into the fridge to set. But you can actually see what's going on right now. There's no temperature to this. This is an ice cold pot and it's absorbing the gelatin. From my understanding, this is called letting the gelatin bloom. We tried it the last batch that we made and I noticed that the gummies were actually quite a nice texture, so this time we increased the amount of gelatin so they get a little more of a bite to them, and hopefully it works out just as well. I'm essentially trying to get all that liquid into the gelatin before I heat it up and activate it, and then when I do heat this up, I don't want to bring it to a full boil. I don't want to bring it to a boil at all. I just want to make it warm and dissolve the gelatin while I also thicken and try to remove some of the moisture through steam, but at the same time I don't want to boil it. As you can see, it's kind of getting less and less grainy. We're going to give that a few minutes and come back and see what it looks like. So after that bloomed a little bit, I've given it a little whisk, a little stir, and broken it up a little bit. This is where we're at now, and now I'm going to turn on the heat. My stove is a mini stove, so don't go by the number I'm about to put it on. This is the most messed up stove I could ever imagine in terms of like the heat works so well. So 3 to me is probably like medium to most people. And then medium for me is like high, and max is just unworldly. But we're gonna let this warm up a little bit. I am doing this with one hand, so it's gonna be a little weird, but I got some methods. The method is that. That's the method. Shannon is here watching and willing to help, but I'm difficult. So basically what we're doing now is warming this up. We're gonna get it come to a liquid consistency. And as it comes to the liquid consistency, we're gonna slowly mix this into it. Get it all mixed in real good. Try to thicken it just a touch and get a little bit of that moisture out of there. And then from there we can go over to the gummy molds and do what we need to do. I don't know if the camera picks it up well, but it's already getting a little bit thinner down on the bottom. Over on the sides here you can see some liquid. And again, I'm using Arizona and a little bit of fruit punch out of like a little juice box. So 2 cups liquid total, 2/3 of a cup unflavored gelatin, beef gelatin we're using, and then a 1/4 cup of cannabis butter infused. Oh, and a little bit of honey too, yeah. I'd say about 1/4. So really, again, proper measurements are 1 3/4 cup juice, a 1/4 cup honey, a 1/4 cup cannabis butter, and a splash of lemon juice just to add some tartness. I think that's everything. Again, this isn't going to be the official video. This is just going to be for all the people that want to see the video and want to make some gummies sooner than later. You don't have to wait on me then. I probably won't even edit this, so you'll get to hear everything and you can skip through it and just kind of watch it at your own pace and speed. That's our mascot in the kitchen. Hi, sweetie.
Baby Sally.
Yeah. So now this is starting to get much more runny. That big like spongy texture has been lost. It's hard to explain the texture right now, but it's almost like a warm honey thickness. So again, I don't want this to boil, but I do want it to warm up to the point where I see some vapor coming off of it and steam. I don't know if my camera will pick that up, but that's what we want to happen. At this point, I could probably mix the butter in, but I don't have 3 hands, so you're gonna see me whisk and hold the camera, and all of a sudden magic is gonna happen. So one of the things that a lot of people probably have a problem with is emulsifying the oil to the liquid. Oils and liquids don't want to bond, they want to separate instinctively, so you have to emulsify them. And in a very short way, what that means is to smash the 2 of them together repetitively until they become one. Use all the noise and all the movement, but you gotta whisk it like crazy because you want that emulsification to happen. At this point, I'm pretty confident they're not gonna separate. If they do, I'd be quite surprised. You'd see it right now, all the oil will start to rise up to the top, and that doesn't seem to be happening. So I'm pretty sure that there's a same temperature and bonded together. A little bit more. That's what it looks like over there when it's not emulsified. And again, I don't want this to boil, I just want to warm it up and steam some of that juice liquid off of it so the gummies aren't like super jello-y. The more of the moisture you get rid of it, the less jello-like it'll be, and the more gummy-like. Now we're not using any liquid corn sweetener or corn syrup sweetener. We're just using honey. From my understanding, if you do use like a glucose syrup of some sort, it will be a better texture, but that's where the experimenting comes in and trying different things. I'm still not seeing any moisture. Oh, I'm starting to see a little bit of steam now, vapors coming up it, and that's telling me that the liquid is starting to evaporate. That's a good sign because you don't want wet gummies. But it is starting to get really hot to the point of almost boil. And if it boils, the gelatin will break and the gummies won't set properly, so we don't want that to happen. All you have to do is remove it from the heat for a second. At this point, maybe another 2 minutes. The texture is, let me get a spoon. The texture is like a warm jello, like right before jello is to set. So, oh, that tastes really good. So I'm gonna let it keep going for a couple more minutes, a little bit thicker, and then from here it's gonna go over and into the molds where we take the little droppers and we take it out of the pot and we put it into the mold, and then you give it a little, shake it a little bit so all the air bubbles can come out, and you put it into the fridge for an hour or so and let them set up. But that's pretty much how you make edibles, gummy style. Have some fun with the recipe, experiment a little bit, try different juices, and yeah. But anyways, let me know if it helps you. So after your gummies are done, what you want to do is take them and find a spot to dry them. For me, it's actually in my bedroom. That's where I dry my weed, right above where I sleep. I have the air conditioner on, but not actually AC mode. It's on fan mode, and that is going to blow a nice cool air over the gummies and help dry out any little bit of leftover moisture. And if you do have any leftover, well, you pour it into a bowl, lightly greased or something if you really want, make it easier to come out. And then this is what we use to test how strong they are. So we like to have fun, and we're going to do something like this. And when I made mine, it had this little foam on the bottom. That's what that is. So in the gummies there was a foam, and I don't mind because it gives this nice little look. It doesn't change the taste or anything, just the texture. But I'd say this is about the equivalent of 20 of those gummies, so a high dose of those gummies. But I mean, I'll be real, we don't track our dosage. More is less. Anyways, have fun making your gummies, enjoy them, be careful, and yeah.